Hello, and welcome to episode 10 of Westmarch Workshop. My name is Archon.
And I'm Nineball.
And we didn't think we'd make it this far. I'll be honest, when we first got the show together, we were like, hey, we got enough content for like 8 solid episodes. And then people kept watching, so here we are. The frontier of Westmarch Workshop, 2 episodes past where we thought we'd make it. And, we lied about the whole improv thing. We actually scripted the first 8 episodes, and now we're having to wing it. So bear with us as we make up stuff like never before. We might even talk about classes that aren't even in the game yet. But that's what the adventure's all about here on Westmarch Workshop. And that's, I think I got nothing now. The script ended right there. That intro was actually part of the script.
Yeah, everything that we had ever said, everything, even the little break off tangents, the times that we actually say that we're responding to something in chat, that was 100% scripted.
Meticulously, we were slipping in little subconscious messages. You thought we were legit, like talking about audio problems. It was all scripted drama. Just for your enjoyment.
What do you mean wrestling is fake? There's no way that could be fake. It has to be real.
What? No, yeah. What? No. Yes, just like wrestling, all your dreams about this podcast have been crushed.
Sorry.
There you go. Episode 10. Happy birthday. Well, Nineball, how was your week in gaming?
My week in gaming was actually pretty good. Putting my new hardcore monk to work by not using her at all, besides having to try and gamble a cinder coat, and of course, like everyone else, getting nothing but chainmails. So that's been helping me re-roll some stats, trying to get plus damage to cluster arrow on my firewalkers that I found. Trying to get a little bit bonus damage on that.
Demon Hunter's still all about the cluster arrow, huh?
Mainly, but I've had 0 luck lately trying to get any pieces of Marauders, let alone any set at all. So until I start getting any of those pieces to work on my 4-piece, I'm stuck with nothing. So it's just relying on that, and hopefully maybe one day, possibly soon, one day maybe, getting a cinder coat. That would be very nice. That would make me happy.
Well, I know for our items of the week, we have a cinder coat that you're probably pretty jealous of.
Makes me so jelly. So jelly. Other than that, I geeked out a little bit with the that anniversary sale that it ended. And I don't know if they can see this on the camera, but this is the mug that I was going through and talking about that was on sale for like the $12. And now aren't you regretting not buying it? It's so cool. And the thing that you can't see that they have in the picture is you actually get, Diablo's big lovely face there. So that's.
And if you're just listening to this right now, what you also don't see is the whole mug glows red, and laser beams come from the sky and just electrocute it every once in a while.
Yeah, definitely. And then the other thing, going just uber levels of geeky is I had to pick up one of these. I just had to.
That is Tyrael's actual plastic sword, if I'm not mistaken.
His actual plastic sword, which is pretty much only used in any of the Diablo games to open doors. It just opens locks. That's all his sword is good for. Wow. The one time he tried to use it to save people, the Herodrum, 1 out of 6 people live. So, yeah, definitely. But he is like 3 for 3 with unlocking doors. So we know its true purpose.
So I assume the plastic version will unlock any plastic doors then.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go through and try that out, maybe this weekend. We'll see if it can open the car doors.
Yeah, well, if you guys don't realize, that is the sword. Tyrael keeps a plastic replica of his own sword. Just, you can't take out the actual Eldrune with you. How do you say that? Am I saying that right?
Eldrune.
Eldrune. Yeah, you can't just walk around with that. Got to have a decoy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't risk losing that.
That's the deep D3 lore they don't tell you about. So, what was that, $60? Is that right, for that sword?
Yeah, it was like $60.
$60. So buy one, take it to school with you, and you'll be the coolest kid at school, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, just go through and show it at show and tell, and people will just throw themselves at your feet for your uber levels of coolness.
Yeah, like in the middle of class, every once in a while, just go down on one knee, slam it to the ground, and yell, "Find the Nephilim!" And I'm pretty sure everyone will just burst into applause.
Or just every time that someone goes to open a door, just go and push them out of the way and be like, "No, I got this," and point the sword at the door, and then just stand there
That's how
until
you,
someone else opens it.
yeah, that's how you make friends in school. So any of you having trouble getting friends in school, $60, all the friends are belong to you.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Well, was that any other nonsense in your week in gaming?
No, that's pretty much been it. Just been running rifts on the Demon Hunter and then throwing the shards through the monk to try for Cindercoats. I've been really tempted to play both the Crusader and the Witch Doctor lately, because I want to play a pet build, and I can do that a lot easier with the Witch Doctor than I can with my Demon Hunter. And the Crusader changes all just look fantabulous and make me want to go back and play it. The only other thing there is, still just I play Warhammer on the weekends, which I saw there was more comments about how Warhammer is evil and the devil. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Thank you very much for looking out for my safety, but I have fun with the game, so that's what I choose to play. I take your suggestions seriously, and again, I thank you for your feedback. But I will continue to have fun my way.
How dare you make life
I'm
decisions based on what
I
you enjoy and not what viewers tell you should enjoy?
I am sorry. I am so sorry.
You have shamed our podcast. No, yeah, I'm all for that. I've been pretty nerdy myself, but for some reason Pathfinder gets all the love and people don't like Warhammer. I don't really understand that. I don't. Warhammer seems closer to like real gaming than Pathfinder does. I'm just pretending to be some elf running around in a forest. Like,
But there's fun in that. You get to use your imagination.
imagination. Yeah, so that's been fun. Still been playing Pathfinder this week, but I think I'm ready to start hardcore. Last week, everyone told me which doctor's class I should play for hardcore. But I'm
Yeah.
starting to think I think I want to just go against chat. Even though I was the one that asked what class should I play, I'm thinking I want to just say, screw it, let's just go Demon Hunter.
Demon Hunter is definitely the most fun, but I believe that they're almost. This is actually surprising because I think it was just today or yesterday. Diablo some page actually compiled a list because they have a script that goes and reads through all of the Diablo Armory profiles and finds the number of dead level 70 characters, and they
Hmm.
publish the survival rate. And
Ah.
currently the cream of the crop is the Crusader and the Witch Doctor. The Witch Doctor has a survival rate of 80.4%, and the Crusader is only 80.2.
Yeah.
Whereas the Demon Hunter, surprisingly, does not have the lowest survival rate. It is almost tied with the Barbarian at
Wow.
66.9, with the Barbarian being 66.7. Now that might also play more into the fact that I don't know if they have adjusted those statistics for just the sheer number of people playing, because there's going to be a very larger number of barbarians playing than demon hunters. So that could skew the results a little bit, because if fewer people are playing demon hunters, because people think that they're swishy, and so you have better quality people playing the demon hunters, and you have more people that are just playing barbarians because they're supposed to be good. They could skew the results a little, where you have bad players playing a more survivable class and good players playing a lesser survivable class. So
Yeah. And is Mikey right in chat that wizards were the ones that died the most?
no, they were at 71%, so
Oh,
they were
okay.
above. They were second to, I guess, that they came in third place behind the Crusader and Witch Doctor.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is surprising, but yeah, I think Demon Hunter just feels the most exciting. I don't
it,
want to
it
feel
is.
safe on hardcore. Why play hardcore at
Who,
that point, right?
who does that? I mean,
Yeah.
really.
Death should be just right around the corner. Speaking of death being right around the corner, wrapping up my weekend gaming, I did check out a new game. Uh, yesterday and today by the name of the Stomping Land, which just really quickly is like it's like Daisy and Minecraft and Turok came together and
All
made
in one.
a beautiful game. Yeah, and now the game isn't even supposed to be done till like the end of next year. Right now it's just early access. But if you like survival games, if you like the feeling of being in the middle of the jungle at night and then hearing like a T-Rex behind you and freaking the hell out, then you might like the Stomping Land because it's a lot of fun. It has that magic of DayZ where other players could kill you at any moment, but here you're actually like worried about the dinosaurs. Where DayZ Warzy, the zombies are a little bit weaker, and you have a crafting system. You can build TPs, and you have to keep hunting dinosaurs to stay alive. And yeah, it's really cool. I'm like totally into it. So
That actually sounds like fun. I like the concept behind DayZ, but I just couldn't get behind the whole zombie theme. But dinosaurs I could probably get into.
they say dinosaurs is the new zombie, vampire, ninja, whatever you want to call it.
Oh,
The new
please don't
cool
say that.
thing.
That scares me. It scares me greatly.
Yeah, you're be ready to see dozens of dinosaur games and movies released. I mean,
Like,
Godzilla kind of fits that theme, right?
yeah, it does. It does ever so slightly, and they also got the new Jurassic Park movie. I think is supposed to come out next
Oh,
year.
I didn't hear about
Jurassic
that.
World. Yeah,
Wow,
this one is just
just getting
everything you know
ridiculous.
of the Jurassic Park franchise just out the window. This new one is genetically modified dinosaurs that have like chameleon skin and all. It's like, oh my god, what
Is
are they
is
doing?
Michael Bay directing it?
You would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's the only way to go, I guess. That's what movies have become. Nothing but special effects. Who can do better special effects, right?
Hmm.
Sorry, getting off on a tangent. But yeah, news this week was a little slow. It's kind
Ever
of
so
kind of
slightly.
like yeah, we had so much news the first few months after launch, and now nothing. But I think this could be a this is the calm before the storm.
I definitely think so. You know, a lot of people were thinking that 2.1, could potentially be out within 2 months after release. That would put it, sometime now.
Sometime now.
Yeah. Of course, I mentioned it on last week's podcast that Nevelistis has been tweeting about how busy she is going and writing and won't allude to what it is. So that could very well be working on some of the 2.1 PTR patch notes because I know she loves teasing about stuff that she can't talk about.
Yeah. No, I it better be right around the corner. I'm so ready for it. I think a lot of players are either taking a break, or kind of taking it easy right now, um, but nonetheless excited for 2.1 to hit.
Yeah. Yeah, people starting to get a little excited about seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be exciting to hit the ground running day one of seasons, and it's always fun to like be at the head of the pack, right? Like right when a new server opens on WoW, or right when a new game comes out,
Hmm.
or right when a new season starts. Like be there right when it opens up, and just even if you're not like in the top 10, top 100, just kind of be with that mass that's leading the pack.
Yeah, it's just that whether you're a hardcore or a casual, just being a part of that initial rush just has a special feeling associated with it that you're like, yeah, I'm cutting edge.
Yeah, so I think I'm at least gonna try the first week to really play a ton in seasons to keep that going as long as possible.
Hmm. See what if they add anything special to seasons to add incentive for playing.
Yeah, I think no way that they won't. At least I think they've all but said. I know. I guess they did confirm right just recently that there will be season specific items.
Hmm.
We just haven't gotten much detail on what items they will be.
Yep.
Oh, well, that'll be a lot of fun. Um, let's see. We got some new posts from the CMs this week.
Yeah, there's the pet AI bug fixes that Grimiku talked about.
Yeah, you want to talk more about that? Is that
Oh,
worth going
sure.
into?
It's a bug that was really noticeable with the barbarians that were using Call the Ancients. The Ancients themselves would sometimes randomly just stand there and not do anything, not actually engage the enemies, even though that they were around them. And some of them would also not use some of the secondary abilities that the different rune effects said that they would gain. In 2.1, they're fixing that, so that way they no longer stand idle when there is attackable mobs on screen that they can engage, and they also will go back to actually using their secondary skills properly. This bug also affects companion, fetish army, gargantuan, pretty much any of the pets, even the Crusader's phalanx is governed by this type of AI, and they have the problem where they'll just sit there and not attack. And apparently, it's pseudo common. You could go through and play dozens of games and not have it happen to you, and then you could just load into a new rift level, and all of a sudden, your gargantuan will just follow behind you and not actually attack enemies, and then just randomly start attacking. And so I guess they've found the glitch, they found the glitch and they're working on a fix, and they expect it to be in 2.1, though as always something could change and it might get pushed back.
Well, hopefully that means that 2.1 is coming soon.
We can hope. We can definitely hope.
That's all we do. That's all we do as players.
Yeah, and then there was the Haunt and Locust Swarm bug fix that they're doing.
Not currently, the percent damage on gear is not applying to those two skills. Is that right?
I believe that's what it was.
All right. Oh, there was also a post from, I think it was Veneris, that posted not all, but a long list of guides. Just kind of put them all in one spot.
Yeah, they put together like the ultimate list of guides for different aspects of the game and such.
I had no idea there was this many well-written, comprehensive guides about Reaper of Souls already.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny, after they posted that, and there was no Goatman Guide of the Week this week. I wonder if that's going to kind of take over for Grumiku's normal things. Or actually, I say that, and he normally posts things on Tuesday, and I go and check the main website, and here it is a few hours ago he posted one.
Yes, that's something about our podcast. Right before we go live, things get posted.
Right after the words come out of my mouth, and I have my answer. There we go. So don't listen to what I have to say.
Grimku's slacking a little bit this week, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's see. What is? I haven't even seen this yet, so you guys are getting live coverage.
Yeah.
To you live.
This is actually from a guide that popped up not too long ago. It is a beginning Crusader gearing guide. So it's a guide for fledgling Crusaders that want to go over and switch classes, or they need to know how to gear or how to set up their builds. So I did watch this video. It's not that terribly long. It's only like 12 minutes, and it just talks about some of the items that you want to shoot for and some common builds that will help you get on your feet. Expecting that you're playing a brand new Crusader with almost nothing else, as well as suggesting some things that you can actually target farm for, like Ogchilds, which are incredibly popular at the higher levels. I mean by higher levels, I mean Torment, Torment 5, Torment 6 farming, and just some other crafted things that you can actually target farm the materials required to craft those.
So I guess this is kind of more of a build than a guide, huh?
No, it covers the stat weights that you want to look for when you first start off your Crusader, what things that you want to try and gear towards with the different builds. So it's partially build guide, focuses a lot on items and what stats that you need in order to gear your Crusader up. Nice.
Well, yeah, hopefully Gurmiku can keep finding guides to put out. I wonder if a good guide goes out every week, but it seems like...
I mean, there are definitely a ton of great guides that are out there. I know one of our new writers, Danny Ray, he's been going through and putting up a bunch of guides on theory crafting, how DPS is calculated, the disparity between gyms, as well as he's got a series running right now about building demon hunters, maximizing your cluster arrow crusader. Imagine that. Rune words are back. Your cluster arrow demon hunter, different things that you can go for while you're gearing up before you get your cinder coat and such.
And you guys can see Danny Ray's articles and guides on diablo.blizzpro.com.
That is correct.
As well as this guy over here. He writes a few.
Every once in a while.
What was that?
I like to sit back and take credit for things other people do.
Well, nothing wrong with that. That's how you get started. That's how you do it.
Hmm.
Just take credit. That's the secret. Um, but yeah, the guide's out there. We'll try to put links in the description of the videos. I know we haven't been great at that, but there should be links to on YouTube and wherever else we can put them to the things we're talking about, as well as the build that Nine Ball's going to show off a little bit later. That came from one of the viewers, right?
Oh, it actually is again from Danny Ray.
Danny Ray, Danny Ray
I,
really creates the
guy
show.
does, guy does, yeah,
We're
guy
just
does a ton
taking
of
credit.
exactly.
That's how you do it.
Should be Danny Ray's Diablo.bizford.com.
Danny Ray does the work. We look at it and talk about it.
I'm just a face. I
Yeah.
talk.
Pays to be a face, I guess.
Hmm.
All right. Well, yeah, I think that was about it for news. Really, really light on the news.
Unfortunately, yeah, that pretty much about covers it.
Yeah, hopefully the devs are just hard at work, and that's why we're not hearing from them.
Yeah, there's I guess the one other thing is that Blizzard Entertainment confirmed that's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. Not really ever anything news related comes out of that, but there'll just be some product listings that'll be showing off, new items that you can throw money at your screen and purchase. General things like that.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. Nothing good's coming out of it, but if you want to buy some stuff.
Oh yeah, if you love swag, shit, that word. That's just that'll be the thing for you.
There you go. Well, you had talked about this Rift It Forward strategy that's been pretty popular on D3.
Yeah, for those that don't know, there's this thing called Rift It Forward. There's a very large collection of communities. There's everything from just, open communities that you can join to private high-level Torment 6 only communities that you have to, get invites into. But the basic premise behind Rift It Forward is you have one person that enjoys farming rifts, and they're called a runner. And they will go open up a rift and then clear it almost like all the way down to like 98%. And then they'll go and post in their community. So they'll post in the community chat that they have a rift open, what difficulty it is, and they'll just take people to come in and join the rift, basically just for the boss kill. And you'll get the 3 people that join. There's different things that they use to determine, because these people that join are then the openers, and what the opener does is that after the rift boss is killed, one of those people that joined opens a new rift, and then they all leave. The runner goes back through, re-clears the rift and posts that they have a new one up. And so for the runners, they get free rifts. They never have to use any keys. They never have to farm bounties or anything like that. They just get to go and solo clear rifts, get all the rewards from it, and have fun if that's what they enjoy and they hate doing bounties. The openers, they get to skip the entire rift and just get the bosses. And in terms of efficiency, it's just absurd, because the rift bosses, once you get into the torment levels, just have such insanely good drop rates for legendaries, forgotten souls. You get an obscene amount of blood shards, since every single one of these runs is only going to take you a minute or two at most, and you're going to be getting 50, 60, 70 plus blood shards dropping from this boss every couple minutes. That, of course, then turns into an obscene amount of legendaries that you're going to get from Kadala, because you're getting, thousands of blood shards per hour. And a lot of people are actually coming out and speaking out against it because they find it exploitive.
Makes sense. It really feels like the runners are doing the openers a favor. Like, I feel like the runners aren't getting nearly as much out of this deal.
They kind of aren't, but then there are people like, Monstrous over from Diablo fans, who he was, an early adopter into Rift It Forward, and he, for a very long time, was always just saying, hey, I just enjoy running rifts. I would just do solo rifts all day, and then this way I never have to do bounties. People just come in and they open rifts for me for free and help me kill the boss in 30 seconds. And so he got the benefit of that out of it. There are people that just enjoy running rifts. myself, I don't really take part in the Rift It Forward, but I enjoy just going into public games and running rifts with, random people, going and chatting with them, seeing what's going on, and just having fun clearing through the rift. And that's what I find enjoyable. So, if I had someone that could, easily do tier 6 on hardcore, I would, probably be signing up for this community and being a runner myself.
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess the runners aren't necessarily losing anything out of it. I mean, losing
They-
anything. They get to do rifts. They don't have to do bounties. I mean, they lose a little bit of efficiency where they bring people into the game, wait for them to get there.
yeah,
But it's pretty negligible. It seems like the benefit is a lot bigger for the
yeah.
openers.
Yeah, though I mean, it definitely it's a system that requires you to buy into it. It's not something that you're being forced to do. So
No,
it's
yeah, definitely.
anyone that's actually running is doing it because they want to,
Yeah.
which is a nice thing.
Yeah, so what do you think about it? You think it's a good system? You think they should do something about it?
It definitely to me harkens back to just old bail runs. In Diablo 2, people would just do bail runs endlessly, not only for the experience, but you had a couple chances at drops, and you would sorry, let me start over there without all the stuttering. You would have games that would be bail runs forever 35. That'd be the name of the game. You'd hope that you could join it fast enough before it fills up with 8 people, and there'd be one person in it, normally a bot, that would go and quickly teleport all the way to bail, and so they would get to bail in 15 seconds, and then everyone would join in, kill all the minions, kill bail, and then they would go through next game, bail runs forever 36, and just
Hmm.
keep going and going and going, and you could just ride that wave for as long as you wanted, and all you were doing was just killing a boss. So you gave tons of experience, which was the big thing there, and you had a very small chance of maybe getting something good out of it because you're competing with 8 other people, including more often than not a couple click bots that were trying to pick up everything from when Bale died. So not so much for the items, but definitely for the experience and the skills, because that really mattered in D2.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminds me of that, and that was just kind of the status quo. This, though, feels a lot more beneficial. There's a lot more that you're getting out of it, because not only are you getting, for the time invested, it's not a bad amount of experience, because you're getting the quest turn in, which at Torment 6 is, dozens of millions of experience, and you're getting a decent amount of gold. It's almost like, what is it, like 800,000 gold? I think it was.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I think it was a Torment 6, and then all of the drops on top of it. So you're getting with relatively minor buy-in. If you have a 1 in 3 chance of being the person that actually has to open the rift, and then if you don't have to open it, you got all of it for free. You just jumped in and got it, and that is the part that people feel is exploitive. And I think probably, I don't know. It's like part of me feels it's creative use of game mechanics, and the other part of me feels that, yeah, this is just too good to be true. And I'm not really sure which direction I'm leaning in. I'm probably leaning towards it needs a change. It doesn't need to be removed, but I think it needs some sort of change, so that way it doesn't feel as exploity.
Yeah, I think it's fine that it's efficient. I think the only problem with these kind of systems is that sometimes because people will do whatever's most efficient, right? The average player, if they can get a leg up by doing something, even if it's annoying or it's not that fun, they'll do it just because it's better than feeling like you're being inefficient. And so I think if players truly enjoy playing this way more than how they're used to playing, because it's actually more fun. Not they enjoy it more because it's more efficient, because a lot of players are just enjoying being efficient. But if it's actually the gameplay is actually more fun, then keep it. I think if the gameplay is less fun, it just becomes a hindrance or becomes kind of annoying after a while, then they should
Mhm.
do something to keep it from being the most efficient way to farm.
Yeah, and there's a lot writing on it too, because we're going to have the tiered rifts, and they're going to work off of a key system. So you actually need to get, from what little rumors and such we've heard, you have to get a tiered rift key, which you can actually use to open up the rift. And then once you beat that level of the rift, you'll get another key that will open up the next level and go from there. What if people are going to just use it to farm up tons of keys? because only one person needs the key, and then everyone else jumps in, and then you get 4 people with the tier 2 key, and then they all just go through and continue to expand on there, and just kind of make it super exploitive.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how they do the tiered rifts. I mean, I could see them saying like you had to be there when the key dropped to use the next rift.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if someone could just solo farm up to like T10 and then like bring people in, or if everyone
Yeah.
in the group would have to progress together.
Or if I imagine it probably would have been that you had to unlock it, at
Mm,
some point. Though actually making it so that way everyone needs a key in order to enter in, would be, like kind of a fair change. It's not exactly something, since it's competitive in nature, I don't see it as something that people are going to really flock to the public games for this type of service. It's going to be more,
yeah.
controlled groups that are going to be going after it.
Yeah, and I think it'll be the first time where there is a really solid, legit reason for taking Diablo seriously. I mean, there's always been those like fringe players that don't mind playing 16 hours a day just to be like one of the top geared players out there, and that's enough purpose for them to play Diablo seriously. But I think for the majority of players, Diablo's only been a casual game.
Mm-hmm.
But having a system like this that's real, that has rankings, that you can see finite progress and compare yourself to other players with tangible numbers that actually mean something,
Yeah.
I think we'll see a new demographic of D3 players, and people start playing the game differently than they have in the past.
Yeah, it does. Is going to be one of the nice side benefits of it. Is it's going to give the hardcore player something to differentiate themselves from the casual player besides just gear. It can actually be like, look here, this is what I accomplished.
Yeah, and it means a lot more, right? I mean, saying like, "Oh, I found this gear," it's like, okay, you either played a lot or you got lucky. Neither of those are super impressive. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, I got to tier 17 in the tiered rifts."
Mm-hmm.
That's just impressive in and of itself, I think. A little
Yeah.
more similar to like MMOs that have endgame that yeah, that's an accomplishment once you beat it, where you can brag, I did this, and people know, okay, you're fairly good at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, inevitably that will turn into not "you're very good." Oh, you have no life. People don't like being outdone in video games.
or you're a tryhard.
Yeah, I love that one. Try hard.
You try hard when you play video games.
Yeah.
What a great insult.
What is this? Who tries hard at anything they do?
Like any other aspect of life, that's seen as a good thing. You
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't use that like in a courtroom or something. Ugh, lawyer's such
Yeah.
a tryhard. Trying to win this case.
Your lawyer's such a try hard. He's actually quoting laws. What is this?
Get over it. Don't take it so serious. It's like the thing you say when you're pissed off and you have no other reason, no other excuse for losing that you can come up with other than well, they just tried harder than me.
Yeah. I
Only
got nothing.
cool
I got
cool
nothing.
kids don't try. They just give up and roll over.
Yep. Yep. Uh,
Tryhards. Well,
Try hard.
yeah. We had a lot of other stuff. We have. Should we go through the feedback before we're getting into this super build? I'm going to talk up a bunch, so you could never live up to the expectations people have of it by the time we talk about it.
Totally. Totally.
It is the build. Like if you're not using this build that Nineball's about to show you, you're not really playing Diablo 3.
Oh, now you've gone too far. You're gonna piss people off with that one. You're gonna piss people off.
You
with
guys
that
better wait for this. If you don't see this build, you're going to be left in the dust as soon as tiered rips come out.
one. You can stop listening to him now.
I just want
don't
the
pay
expectations
any
to build up
attention to
so heavily by the time Nineball has to show you this build, and then Nineball can let you guys down. But he's not, because this build is so good.
I'm the one that's gonna let you down.
Don't let him down, Nineball.
I'm not sorry for this one. He's sorry. He's sorry.
Just make sure you show them that super awesome build that's better than every other build, and you won't have to worry about it. There we go. This is the episode. You guys are going to be happy you tuned into this episode. Nineball will not disappoint you. Okay, but before we get into that, maybe we could go through some feedback.
Yeah, let's go and do that. That will be
We're just winging it here.
Yep.
Yeah, so I can't even remember how we normally do this. I'm usually a little intoxicated, and this time I made the mistake of doing the show sober, and
He's sober and he can't
so I
remember
can't. Yeah,
that we do. Yeah,
so this is
it's
what
that.
happens when I don't drink, is I can't remember the order we do things in. Should we just do the item of the week now?
Oh yeah, we can go and do the items of the week. We can get that out of the way first, and then get into the feedback.
All right. Well, last week we got a sexy blackguard. Not this one. Last week's actually had more damage, 3,200, but it didn't have a socket, which I think I forgot. Let me move this up. There you go. Yep, socket on here as well. This one actually is almost perfectly rolled. It came from Wilson, the volleyball from Castaway. Sent this in. And it has 1439 to 1777 damage, which is like 5 damage away from being average. That is the maximum minimum roll, and 11 away from the maximum roll.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10% damage. I mean, that reduced resource cost, you want to re-roll. I can't tell if he. I'm not sure if he rolled that socket onto there.
No, I don't believe that he's rerolled anything on it yet.
Yeah, so yeah, get that resource cost into attack speed. I mean, unless, of course, your build relies on a resource cost reduction.
Oh, I think actually rerolling it to a main stat would be the largest DPS.
Oh, yes, what am I talking about? Yeah, you have no.
Yep.
Yes, good call.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. But yeah, pretty sexy blackguard. We also have a Murlocket. This item has been in the game maybe since release. I don't know when they
Since
added
release,
it.
yeah. Though there was a very long period of time when it wasn't, it was bugged and could not drop. And I think it was, let's say like 0.6 is when they finally fixed it and made it so that way it could drop again.
Yeah. Well, and if you haven't seen this, it summons a little spoiler alert Murloc.
Yep, you have Murky that will then follow you around as a pet, like the new Spectral Dog. Doesn't do anything; it just follows you around.
Yeah, there you go. So a little World of Warcraft reference for anyone who cares. We also got this very sexy amulet. This was sent to Nineball via Twitter from Necro. I think he sent in an item last week too, but very close to perfect Moonlight Ward. 25% arcane skill damage, 7 attack speed, 100 crit damage, and 9 crit chance.
Oh, garbage. Throw it away.
Need that 10 crit.
Mm-hmm.
10 crit or GTFO. But yeah, very sexy Moonlight Ward there.
Yeah, that's one that I wonder if he had re-rolled the critical hit damage, to try and get it perfect, or if it had always been there. Because I'm wondering, depending upon your build, the main stat might have been better than the attack speed increase.
Yeah, that's a good call, depending on what that roll was beforehand.
Yeah.
Attack speed just, I would not be against them just doubling all the attack speed numbers.
You mean like what it was before?
Yeah, just go back. I mean, Travis Day already came out and said they didn't need to change it, right?
Yeah, they said that if they were more forward-looking, they would have given it a little bit more time and found that it more or less the meta corrected itself, and attack speed ended up not being as good as the other stats, even if they had left it at the previous value.
Because back then people hadn't stacked crit chance, crit damage yet.
Yeah, or they didn't have enough of their main stat to warrant stacking the crit and crit chance. And that, back then people were just, throwing amethysts into their sockets just so that they had enough life on hit to survive Inferno.
Yeah. Well, I'm Team Travis.
Team Travis.
Team Travis. That's a new hashtag on Twitter. Hashtag Team Travis. No one else is going to know what you're talking about, but we'll know. We want attack speed doubled.
And just make sure that you tag him as well, Travis Day, and so that way he has no idea what's going on.
Team Travis? I have a team? Everyone, that's your homework. After watching the podcast, you want to support the show, hashtag Team Travis, and demand attack speed is doubled again. Wouldn't there? I imagine there'd be some really awesome builds based on attack speed if it was actually like a competitive stat.
I mean, there definitely are some builds that benefit from it a lot more than others, and there are other classes, kind of like the Demon Hunters, that attack speed inflates your damage numbers by an obscene amount, but unfortunately doesn't give you that much benefit. It's like an artificial inflation of your damage. It's not as good as it makes it look on paper.
Yeah, you're going through resources faster, not getting those big numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, we can only hope. Because right now, I mean, yeah, even more so than in before Reaper of Souls, attack speed just feels so weak. Well, we got these gloves of worship, which are a great set of gloves for any build that doesn't rely on one of the elemental gloves, I think. And they
Yep.
rolled almost perfect.
Yeah. If you're not having to use gloves as a set piece bonus, or not using something like Tasker and Theos for a pet build, this is the item that you want to get, and it is farmable because you can do Act 2 and Act 4 bounties to try and get that out of the Herodric cache.
Yeah, super jelly of Mad Hamster. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're set on gloves now. Any build you want that doesn't rely on another set, you got almost a perfect trifecta.
Yeah,
Okay.
that will last him until he gets a build specific set of gloves.
Yeah. Let's see. We get mage fists every week. I don't know what it is. I guess mage fists are just pretty popular, right? And they're
Yeah,
thrown pretty high.
and thanks to the Cinder Coat, really, almost anything is popular. I think someone did both Diablo fans and Diablo Inc. gamers did breakdowns of the elemental affixes, and we also, Danny Ray, throwing him out there again, he did an article over at diablo.blizzpro.com about the total number of items with elemental bonuses, and lightning actually squeaked out just above fire in terms of the sheer number of items that you can have equipped for the bonus.
Hmm.
But fire, thanks to Cindercoat and how powerful resource cost reduction is, just still wins over everything. So that makes Mage Fist even more powerful because it buffs fire, which the Cindercoat makes godly.
Yeah. Do you think Center Code is too powerful?
Um, I am going to say I don't think the Cinder Code is too powerful. I think that there is nothing else in the chest slot that compares with it in power. It's not that they should nerf Cinder Coat; they should use that as the baseline and make other items to compete with it.
Hmm. I think I have a similar view, but I'm less focused on what slot it's in and more focused on the elemental type. I think if they just
Mm-hmm.
had one item for each elemental type that was like super powerful, then it would be okay.
Yeah,
Because if you're not running fire, you're not using a cinder coat as it is, right?
yeah. Though the item type itself does really play into that, because if you want to say make a helm that buffs, say you have a helm that does a massive bonus to, or some special effect for poison or physical, you're going to cut out some builds like Pet Witch Doctor because they have to use a Mask of Jerem. Or same thing with gloves if you want to use a pet build, because of the Tasker and Theo. So with the chest, the only thing that chests have going for them is Cindercoat for its resource cost reduction and the fire damage, or a set piece, which you can use a Ring of Royal Grandeur in order to get around that requirement.
Um,
There's no like chests besides maybe the Cloak of Garwolf that have a interesting bonus or a fix that's part of it that makes it worthwhile. Everything else is just stats and sockets, and that's it.
yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, slot definitely matters. I think you could make some really awesome elemental specific damage items for boots, bracers, maybe a ring, amulet, belt. Most of those slots don't have many builds that need that slot to be a specific item.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the reason I don't think we necessarily need more chests that are on par with Cindercoat is because Cindercoat's only an option if you're a fire build, and it would be really hard to come up with a chest that competed for Cindercoat in a fire build. I think it's always
Yeah.
going to be the chest to go for. And if you're not fire, I think there's a fair amount of choices that you can make with chests. I mean, none of them are super exciting choices, but
Yeah, but that kind of goes to, kind of the mantra of Reaper of Souls. Your items or your drops dictate your build. If you have a Cinder Coat drop, you're going to go through and find, well, what type of fire build can I make this, use for?
yeah.
Whereas opposed if you find, just another chainmail, for example, or what is it, Tyrael's Might. That's just kind of like, oh, that's nice, you know.
Yeah,
And
I think the problem is we don't have items of that much power for the other elemental types.
hmm
Like, there's no item that you find and you're like, okay, now I have to go lightning, or now I have to go cold. Like, Cindercoat really owns that space as far as items that push you into a certain elemental type.
yeah, and well, like we mentioned earlier, there's going to be adding new items in 2.1, so what might we see?
Yeah, hopefully some more super powerful ones. I imagine as they add more items, they'll want them to be, on average, more powerful than the previous items to keep people's excitement escalating.
Yeah,
Well,
that's for sure.
we had one more item, and this is really the item of the week. And so Nine Ball can be super jelly now, as we reveal this Cinder Coat that Bloodwater found on Hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't even re-rolled anything yet, it appears, and it is near perfect. It's like, what, 15 vit away from perfect?
Yeah,
Or depending
and
on what stat you want there.
yeah, it's max fire, max strength, 3 sockets, and max resource cost reduction. Uh, Personally, I would just since it's a strength one, not a dexterity, I would re-roll the vitality to all resist, just because I prefer all resist over vitality in terms of getting your toughness up. If it was dexterity and you wanted to play as a monk, I might re-roll the increases gold and health pickup into a resist for your one with everything.
But wait, when you want to oh, if it was dex, yeah.
If it was dex.
Yeah.
But it's not, so ignore what I just said.
What a find. Yeah, assuming that you're strength based, you have maximum rolls on everything that matters. You can really, regardless of what stat you want there instead of vit,
Yeah.
you can make that a perfect syndicate.
Yeah, and the everyone's reaction, "Holy Mother of God," to this item in chat, and say re-roll it for skill percentage, which you could, but because Bloodwater he plays. I believe he's still playing as Crusader. He's submitted some feedback to the show in the past. People will remember his Crusader story if you've been watching the podcast. And that's the only reason why I would actually still suggest all resist is just for the survivability over the skill damage. But Bloodwater, that's your call. If you feel good with your survivability and you want to kick it up a notch, by all means take the gamble, get the skill damage bonus on there, and start rolling with your Crusader.
Yeah, that is quite a find.
Represent 814 says brimstone it. So there's your devil advocate. Flip a coin.
Not even a forgotten soul. Just find a way to turn it into a fiery brimstone. We're going back before expansion. Yeah, I mean, at that point, you have that almost perfect Cinder Coat. I mean, all your builds have to be fire on Hardcore now, right? He was using it. He was on his wizard at that point. I'd be using that Cinder Coat even on my wizard. Vendor it. Not even. That's great. Well, yeah, since we're in the community feedback section of the show, maybe we'll go right into our feedback before finally showing you guys this amazing build that you just might piss yourself over when you see it.
Yeah, you're gonna keep doing these things, these evil things. All right.
I can't promise that you won't. That's how amazing this build is.
All right, here we go.
Oh wait, we're gonna do the feedback first?
Yeah, let's do the feedback first.
Okay, so yeah, this feedback comes from viewers. If you guys want to submit any feedback, like Nineball posted in chat, westmarchworkshop@blizzpro.com is the email.
Yep. Can I start?
Yes, yeah, you start. Do it. Oh, sorry,
right.
I forgot to mention the items. We didn't show all the items this week. It's because we're getting so many, and it was taking up a lot of time. We're just taking like the top 5 or so each week. So if you didn't see your item, we did get it, and we appreciate it. Keep sending the items. We just aren't gonna keep showing all of them.
Yeah, literally, how many did we get? We got
maybe a dozen.
Yeah, we got like 12 or 13 items that were submitted, and some of the posts, they linked multiple items, and it's just just can't get to them. Can't get to all of them.
Yeah, it took like 20 minutes on last week's show, so.
Yeah, so we'll be picking the top 5. So if you think that you've got something good, by all means throw it in. And as you could see in some of our past episodes, or just even tonight, we took the Murlocket because that's a nice rare item. And last week we did the Master Bastion because there's something funny.
I don't get
about
it.
Master Bastion.
I still don't.
I don't know.
Leave a comment on YouTube if you know what it means. I don't think.
Yeah.
Master Bastion.
I'm not sure. Oh, don't get it.
Oh.
No.
Well, you had an email that you were super excited about.
I actually have a couple of emails that I'm kind of super excited about. Last week, I asked people because people had sent emails before, oh, Nine Ball, lore is your thing. Talk about lore. It's like, okay, what do you want to hear? And then I didn't hear anything. This week we actually had some questions that went through and submitted. I'm going to start off with Waterfiend, a good friend of mine. He is a contributing writer over at diablo.inkgamers.com, so you can go and check out his work over there. Great guy. He was at the launch party. I believe you at least introduced him to you. I don't know if you got to chat with him, but he's an awesome guy, really active on Twitter. And he just has a quick question about lore. My understanding is that when Leah was filled with the Black Soul Stone, when she was taken over by the Primeval, that it had the souls of at least Belial and Asmodan in it. But I'm trying to understand what other demon souls it had in it. Was Diablo inside the Soul Stone? Baal, Mephisto? What was it? And the answer is yes. All of the primevals, so that's the big three, so Mephisto, Diablo, and Baal, as well as all of the minor ones, which is, of course, Belial and Asmodan, but also Duriel and Andariel were in there as well. I guess the part that this question actually gets asked quite commonly, and a part that people, I guess, just kind of miss. I know this one is going to be for you because you don't pay attention to the story at all.
Nope.
Is at the end of Act 2, when you kill Zoltan Kulle, you notice that demon souls get brought into it, and he says that the demon lords of hell have been trapped within the Black Soul Stone, and then he tries to warn you, or this is actually, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's not before you kill him, or after you kill him. It's right before you kill him. And then he warns you, you're being played as a fool. You have to turn back. Someone is, attempting to use you, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to kill you for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Then we kill the person that's trying to help us. But those souls that got trapped in it, all of the previous souls of the vanquished demon lords from Diablo 2, your Baal, Diablo, Mephisto, and such. And what's actually kind of mapped out in the Book of Tyrael is how Andariel, or not Andariel, how Adria did it. She learned Zoltan Kulle's technique for marking demon souls in order to bind them to the Black Soul Stone. That's why she knew where to go, where to find it, and she kind of led you, into where you could get his head and then the Black Soul Stone and such, because this was premeditated for many years prior. Even before the events of Diablo 1, she had been doing this. And so she tricks you into, unlocking the Black Soul Stone. And when Zoltan Kulle finishes creating it at the end of Act 2, it activates all of those marks and draws in all of the souls. And the way that she had marked them was when a demon dies in Sanctuary, it leaves an imprint of their soul. And all of those demons, had died on Sanctuary at some point. And so she just went to all of the locations, which is, the Monastery of the Sightless Eye for Andariel, Tel Rash's Tomb for Duriel. Diablo died in Tristram. He also, of course, I guess he died in Tristram in the three primevals. They have actually died multiple times because they were defeated by the Herodrum, 300 years prior, when they were first put into their soul stone. So she could have found any of their locations as well, where they were first defeated, and then bound their soul from there. And that is how they all got in there, and that's all the souls that are contained in the Black Soul Stone. So I hope that made sense.
Wow, yeah, that was quite comprehensive. I kind of zoned out there a little bit, but no, that was a really good summary.
There's another lore question that we got from Old School. He wanted to know what we think the current state of hell is now that none of the demon lords are present, and that it's pretty much up for grabs. And the way that hell is ruled is basically might makes right. So it's the strongest demons are the ones that get to go through and rule over hell. Now that all of the evils, both the primevals and the lesser evils, have been vanquished, it's kind of going to fall on the next in the food chain. There are going to be some, most of the major demon lords have lieutenants, so it'll probably fall to them. Mephisto is the only demon that was known to have children. Lucian and Lilith, he might have had others. They would probably be good contenders for taking the reins. There's also some of Osmodan's lieutenants, the Lords of Sin, which some of the survivors of there, they might have been able to have trying to take over. I'm sure whatever it is, it's a bunch of really powerful demon lords that are just fighting with one another, trying to take command. And there's not a lot going on in Hell at the moment in any cohesive force, just a lot of infighting and probably a second civil war is what's going on there. And who knows, if they make another expansion beyond Reaper Souls, we might learn more about that with Diablo, where the Primeval being freed from the Black Soulstone. I'm sure we'll probably be going into Hell to try and hunt him down and preventing him from reforming. We might see a little bit more of the politics of Hell going on there. And the final question we got from Steve was, he really likes his wizard, and he really likes the Veer set for playing as an Archon, and he just wanted to know if there's any lore behind Veer. And unfortunately, the answer is no. The only lore that we know of him is just in the flavor text on each of the set pieces, and it appears, of course, if you've got all of them or read them online, he was just a very powerful mage that created some sort of artifact known as the Black Obelisk, so that way he could channel the power of the Archon, which was at that point in history was just some sort of kind of primordial being of pure energy, and he was able to transfer some of that power into himself and use that his robes and his gear in order to channel that power. And that's why the Veer set is based around the Archon, is it allows you to tap into that power, and it unlocks all of the runes for you, is the lore behind it. Who he was, what he did. He seemed to be a tyrant and not an all-around good guy. Maybe they'll expand upon in the future, but unfortunately that's all we know.
That's a lot. It's a lot more than I know. I can see
your name is Archon.
Yeah, you think I would know a little bit.
Now you know where you come from.
I know my backstory now. But yeah, I mean, I can see how you get so into the lore. It's a really well written story. For some reason, my brain just doesn't attach the story to the gameplay. Like when you're playing D3, do you feel like you are like, is the story like in your mind as you're playing? Like I am killing hordes of enemies for good. Do you attach the two, or are they separate?
Some points, my mind will sometimes try and make narratives when I'm running rifts, based on where I am. If you get like a certain tile set, there's sometimes you'll get like the caves. You'll just get like a random cave, and it'll be completely dark. And you're just kind of like running around and you're fighting a bunch of demons. It kind of has that feeling you're running through the catacombs underneath Tristram in Diablo 1. So it's other than that, I'll just maybe I'll be farming bounties in Act 2 and running around the desolate wastes and kind of think about the ancient battle that was fought there between the different mage clans, and some of the lore that we know of there. Those massive dragon-like skeletons were there before the Mage Clan wars. So it's there. You have all of these mages throwing out, summoning demons, throwing horrific spells at one another, just obliterating the landscape among the bones of these giant creatures. How ancient are they? Where did they come from? Just little questions that pop in my mind.
That does seem like it would make the game a little more interesting. I need to take some tips from you.
And someone just, Y2K Panic asked, Nineball, do you know any Demon Hunter lore? I know a lot of Demon Hunter lore, and it's Vala's short story, Hatred and Discipline, that made me fall in love with the Demon Hunter. If you have not read that, go to the Diablo 3 main site, go to the game guide. Down at the bottom, you'll see Hatred and Discipline. It's a short story, maybe 50 pages long. You can finish reading it in one sentence or one sitting. It is the actual backstory of the female Demon Hunter that you play in the game. It is amazing. It is amazing.
Wow.
Maybe I'll talk about that on a future episode, but that is definitely worth a read if you enjoy anything about Demon Hunters.
So did you choose your Demon Hunter more on the lore or more on the playstyle?
Lore is what attracted me to it. Playstyle is what kept me playing.
Nice. Well, Nineball got his handful of lore questions there. I got some wizard questions.
If you're...
Well, let's see how I can do. First, we got Daryl. He submitted an unusual build, as he says it. It's a hardcore build, and let me quickly add it to the screen here so that you guys, that's not it, so you guys can see the build I'm talking about. It is a sword and board wizard build for hardcore. And maybe Nineball can give his opinion too here. It's a melee build. He's using Electrocute Arc Lightning as his primary ability, and then Arcane Turret Cascade as his secondary damage doing ability. He has Teleport, Familiar, Magic Weapon, and Ice Armor. This build is definitely unusual. Unstable Anomaly, definitely going to be a staple in any hardcore build. Astral Presence to get more arcane power. I imagine he's running out casting Arcane Torrent. Unwavering Will and Elemental Exposure to do more damage while standing still. And Elemental Exposure is a really popular skill. Basically, it makes enemies take 5% more damage every time they're hit by a new elemental type. And wizards have 4 elemental types, so you can get it up to 20%. But just, I think people might overvalue elemental exposure. If your build already incorporates 3 or 4 elemental types, I think elemental exposure can add a lot. Or if you can get to the point where it's doing 3 or 4 elemental types without sacrificing much at all,
Mm-hmm.
then throw it on there. But keep in mind, you're only getting 5% extra damage after you hit the target. And it's going to add to your teammates, so you're doing good for your group. But, if you're cutting down your damage significantly to get elemental exposure on there, it might not be worth it.
Well, wouldn't it be if you're using a weapon with an elemental type on it, and then skills of another set, that it's still like that is like a 10% bonus damage because it pulls into effect your weapon's elemental bonus. So it, as a minimum, is the 10%. And if you use Spark Flint with something other than Spark Flint, is arcane or fire?
Spark Flint can be arcane or fire or frost or. Yeah, I mean, like, you can get in situations where it's pretty good. Yeah, so assuming your weapon type is different than the type of spells you're casting, then that's 2. 2 after you hit them. And things like Spark Flint, that's only going to be hitting one target. So if you're doing, if you're fighting a boss or an elite pack, it's going to be a lot more beneficial than if you're fighting like a group of enemies. But just, I think the problem people make is they just factor in 20% extra damage. If they have 4 different types of elemental, like, oh, I'm just doing 20% extra damage. And in reality, even if you're hitting with 4 elemental types, you're probably doing, 10, 15% extra damage at the most, because you're not going to hit every enemy and you're not going to hit them instantly. It's going to be throughout the fight. But that's a little tangent I have. I think I just see elemental exposure so often. Because if you focus on a single element, you can still get, cold-blooded, conflag, temporal flux, depending on what you want to put there, and you're still getting those benefits. This build is not a build I would use in hardcore. And I guess I would have to see it play out to know how efficient it is. It seems like it could be a fun build, but I see a lot of opportunities that you could be combining things. There are very few wizard builds that don't rely on a single elemental type for a pretty good reason. Basically, if I was you, I would pick Electrocute or Arcane Torrent, whichever one you want more, and then make the build around that elemental type. I guess based on what gear you have right now. With the tall set, it might make a little bit more sense to keep running something like this. But yeah, if you're gonna go melee, because you're getting less survivability when you go melee, but you can add some more damage, so you might as well fully commit. And here you're kind of half in melee. I would take Electrocute out to a ranged skill, or keep Arcane Torrent and put on Magic Missile or something, so you can be Arcane based and do range. But seems like you just dipping your toe into the melee, and you might be getting the downsides without getting the bonuses.
I would want to point out this guy actually has some really impressive gear, because he's got the Blackthorn set bonus going on, as well as Countess Julia's amulet. So he fears nothing when it comes to elites. He stands in the the arcane beam with the poison molten desecrator and just laughs at it.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice setup for hardcore. Yeah, I'd love to see that build in action. Yeah,
I just want to say, Reb just entered the chat channel. Throwing that out there.
Hello, Reb.
Hi, Reb. Hi, Reb.
Reb and I were co-hosts of Twizcast together, and well, thanks for stopping by. It's been too long. A lot of you guys know Reb. She's awesome. Well, we got. I have one more image to show you because I got another email, and I'm having trouble deciphering what exactly they're asking. But let me show you their build. He says that he just finished the latest episode, and at the end we were talking about the no-leg wizard build. Do you remember that?
The no legendary wizard build. I think I'm not sure if that was last episode or one earlier because we had talked about one that was kind of an easy build. Or it might have been I think that was actually last week's episode. It was a feedback. It was one of the fan feedback. They were talking about that they had a lightning build. No, no, my memory is coming back. It's not completely useless. It was one of the. Was it? I don't remember now. No, never mind. We had talked at some point about a wizard build. I do believe that it was a fan feedback, and it was about just a basic lightning build that you could get that would stun enemies, not really require any legendaries, and just was an easy thing to pick up off the ground.
Yeah. Well, Gerald, I guess, is using a build that he thinks would work well without any legendaries. He happens to have all legendaries, all of his items legendaries. But I guess the point is that the build doesn't require legendaries to work.
Yes, there we go. It was the Slumdog Wizard build from
no vowels.
Because he said to not pronounce any of the consonants in the 100% consonant name. So
it's just that's there's his name. You heard Nightball say that. But yeah, it's got Surge of Power with Electrocute, Disintegrate, Chaos Nexus, Teleport, Wormhole, Energy Armor, Archon. Passives are Astral Presence, Evocation, Glass Cannon, and Audacity, and it's a pretty much all-around build. Yeah, this seems like it would work fine without any legendaries. Disintegrate's a great secondary skill. Electrocute's a great primary. It has a lot of the most popular wizard skills in there, and despite it not having much crowd control, assuming that you had enough defense to run this build, I think it would run pretty well, especially on low difficulties. But of course, right away after you hit max level, you're gonna want to kind of like let your legendaries dictate your build. But yeah, thanks for sharing, Gerald. That definitely could work. I think regardless of someone's gear setup. And I had one more message about wizards. All the wizard questions this week.
Mm-hmm. They're bringing it back.
Yeah.
It's totally wizard.
Yeah.
For any of you Robot Chicken fans out there, it's totally wizard.
You know what? I am, and I don't. I don't get the reference.
It's from one of the Star Wars specials.
Not caught up on my Robot Chicken. Anyways, the last one, Ethan. He wanted to know, when he's using the Archon build, if +2 disintegrate damage or the legendary affix from Wand of Woe would give bonuses while in Archon. And the answer, unless I haven't actually tested this, but I'm almost positive that bonus to disintegrate would not give you bonus to the Archon laser, because it's a different spell. And that Wand of Woe would not give you extra blasts on your Archon blasts. I can't even remember what it's called, but they are different spells. So if it did give you a bonus, I would imagine it's a glitch, but every once in a while I'm wrong about that kind of stuff. I'm hoping someone in chat can clarify that's tested it so I can confirm. But I would be willing to bet my money that those are not going to carry over and help you while in Archon form. It's one of those things I just haven't tested because just knowing how things have worked in Diablo in the past, I can't imagine it would give you that benefit.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those ones where I feel the same way. In my mind, I just think, oh, well, it's a different spell, so obviously it's not going to work, and don't even bother testing it. And then only later come out, find someone that actually tested it, and it's like, oh no, this shit is totally legit.
Yeah, that's the hard thing is sometimes I don't have the answer and I can guess, but inevitably I'm wrong. Every once in a while, there's that weird thing that works completely contrary to the way you'd expect it to work, and then I get wrong information. But yeah, from chat, people are confirming it seems that it wouldn't work, or at least that they also assume it wouldn't work.
Congratulations, you're right this week.
Yes! 1 week I actually gave true information after double checking. But yeah, I think that was about it from oh no, wait, I'm sorry. We have one from Necro who also submitted an item.
Yep. Yeah, he submitted some feedback and also in an item post, which is we'll go through and we'll talk about it, but just from a setup standpoint, would really appreciate it if you had an item and feedback that you wanted submitted or wanted something that you wanted us to talk on the show. It helps us out if you send them as 2 separate emails when we go through to organize things. So just if it's too much, by all means, go through and we'll still go and do our best. But it helps us
Yes.
or me.
No,
Helps me.
Helps us. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he had a lot of stuff. He wanted to express his appreciation for what we do. Thank you so much, Necro. He said, keep up the YouTube videos and the content. He finds it entertaining and helpful. He also says thanks for showing his puzzle ring, and he's baffled by how the Moonlight Ward got overlooked. But that he had also sent us, I guess. Yeah, we haven't shown all the items, but anyways, he said he's not excited to start over in seasons. He's more excited to have the new game experience that he remembers during open beta and post-release. I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
He says, nowadays all we do is rift, bounty, rift. It's fun and exciting, grind for loot while earning a paragon. However, I haven't done much questing since pre-ROS. We were farming legendaries that way. The storyline quests and low-level playthrough brings back things from the past. It gives us a chance to relive Diablo 3. A lot of players fell into the grind loop endgame, and if you forget the fresh start feeling and why it's so exciting. Skipping out of the majority here every time we play, it sucks. We need to start with 0 gold, 0 gems, no hellfire ring, etc. But forced to relive that moment, and he, for one, is excited that the bonus to go headfirst into untapped realm of season ladders. Yes, so I think kind of piggybacking on what we talked about, even if you're not excited to lose everything and you're not competing for top rank in seasons, just that fresh feeling of everyone kind of starting from ground zero, I think, brings some new excitement to the game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sorry, I tried to reply to something in chat here.
No worries.
But yeah, that is the whole big thing about why people enjoy ladders, why people enjoy seasons, is that starting over from scratch. Is you think going through and playing with all of your gear and stuff that you might not enjoy it. If easy thing, if you've never played hardcore, not to try and get you to play hardcore, but just play hardcore. Not for that experience, but for the experience of starting all over again from scratch, having 0 gold, level 1 artisans, having no crafting patterns, having to unlock all of your followers, and not having adventure mode. Just go through and do it, and you'll relive some of those memories that you had when you first started playing Diablo 3. It'll be like kind of a faint nostalgic feeling you'll get, and it's a super fun experience. And then you'll get addicted to hardcore, and that'll be great. But it's just it gives you a little taste of what it's like playing in a season.
No, definitely. I mean, I think anytime an expansion or a new game comes out, it's a lot of fun, and I think it's obvious new features are exciting, but I think a lot of that excitement that all the players feel is also just the fact that we're all at the starting line, like the start of a marathon. We all take off, even if you're not in the front. It just feels good knowing, like, okay, we all just started. We're all in this together. We're all experiencing this together. Yeah, I don't know. It's, I guess, hard to articulate, but most players, I think, that try starting over, enjoy it a lot more than they think they would.
What if your starting memories are, man, I wish I was max level? Well,
that's coming from Mikey, who, by the way, is a huge fan of starting over and doing seasons and ladders. So don't let him troll you here. Yeah, Error 37 says, how you pronounce that? I don't know. I'm not going to try that one. Telenoches. There we go.
There you go.
I lied. I tried it. It was worth it. But, yeah, definitely at least give it a chance. Reb wants me to bring my vodka gun. It's a tequila gun. And kids, don't play with tequila guns, especially if they're loaded, because you might get tequila all over your pants.
Yep, and that probably will not be the last thing that gets on your pants at the end of that evening when tequila is involved. Speaking of which, this year, BlizzCon, let's do some tequila shots.
Yeah, I'll bring my tequila gun.
There we go.
If they allow tequila guns over there, I don't know. I might have to get it registered or something.
I'm sure we can sneak it by. We can do
Yeah.
this. We can
No,
make it happen.
definitely. Yeah, well, I think that brings us up to the to this amazing build that Nine Ball is about to blow you all away with. If you thought the monk was
Mhm.
useless, Nine Ball's about to prove you wrong. He is going to shove it in your face, and you are going to eat your own words, forever suggesting that the monk was not already the number one class in Diablo 3. That's what those were Nine Ball's exact words to me right before the show.
Um,
I might have screwed up a little bit, but those pretty much. I'm okay. I'm paraphrasing, but that was the message.
yeah, I'm gonna call screenshot or it didn't happen on that one. Um,
On to the build.
yeah, onto the build here. Let me get the screen shared over here. As soon as I can find the button, and I won't
Unprofessional.
find the button unless I'm actually clicked into the call. There we go. That will be useful.
We know how to use technology.
Oh, of course. We do this for a living, everybody. That's why we don't get paid for it.
we do this for a living. That's why we're streaming from cardboard boxes. They have drawn on backgrounds. This is all just a facade.
This is all they give us. This is all we have. Yeah, so this is actually a build that was written up a couple weeks ago by, again, Danny Ray, throwing him out there. It is a support monk build, and this one actually is variants of it are pretty popular right now because, as I'm sure everyone at this point is kind of familiar with, that monks just have problems with the higher difficulties. They don't have the damage output to quite compare with some of the other classes. They were kind of sitting back with the Crusaders, but then the Crusaders got a ton of love, and the monks are just kind of sitting there. What do we get? And this build is something that is popular among monks, not because it's something that they want to do, but because it's one of the ways that they can remain effective and useful in the higher torments. I believe most monks that use this actually hate this build. So the whole build up is just so much more beautiful in that respect. People don't want to be a support monk or a pull bot. They want to they want to be included because they could kill things as fast as everybody, or they're bringing them for their damage in their own right. But
You want to be
this will
the
at least
star of the group, not like the bass player.
exactly this is one of the ones that will at least will help you get by and allow you to kind of earn your slot with your higher torment farming groups, and so that way you're not a detriment. And it's all about providing buffs. So you have crippling wave, breaking wave, which anything that you hit gives they take 10% more damage, so it increases the amount of damage that your party does. You have exploding palm, flesh is weak. The marked mob takes 20% additional damage, and then you have Inner Sanctuary, Forbidden Palace, which any mob within the Inner Sanctuary little area that's marked on the field takes an additional 30% damage. So it's stacking a lot of huge damage buffs on there, and things just melt, especially bosses. Then, of course, you have Mantra of Healing, Time of Need for the party resists. Soothing Mist, whenever you use Epiphany, it makes it every time you attack or use a skill, it heals your group. You have Beacon of Yatar, which is to just reduce the cooldown of Inner Sanctuary, Epiphany, and Serenity, Tranquility. And Resolve and Serenity are also two ones that help you out with the group. Resolve reduces the amount of damage that the mobs do after you hit them, and Serenity, Tranquility provides everyone with the 1 second bonus for the immortality, or the invulnerability. So you can help it to get someone out of a bind, or just help them get that little bit that they need in order to make through. So it's just everything that you're doing supports the group. The only two ones that you actually have that support you directly are the One with Everything and Chant of Resonance. One with Everything, of course, gives you increased resists, and Chant of Resonance is just there so that way it keeps your mantra going longer, and it gives you Spirit Regen. Because Crippling Wave is one of the slower spirit generators, doesn't generate as fast as some of the other ones, and so Chant of Resonance just kind of helps you out with some passive Spirit Regen as you go back and forth, because your whole goal is to try and throw Exploding Palm up on as many things as you possibly can. Um, as I said, most monks kind of hate playing this build because they hate being relegated to just you're a support. You are a buffed up follower in your position in this party, and people don't like that. That's one of the big complaints that people have with monks. But this at least helps you get
Yeah.
by until you can be a damage demon in your own right.
I wonder if there's a less outspoken section of the players that really enjoy the support monk. I imagine the kind of player who would like to play like a healer in MMOs, might enjoy just being a full-on support class.
Oh yeah, man. I'm sure that there's I actually know a friend of mine that has a softcore monk. He's since transitioned over to a crusader and loves it. But back in classic, monk was his thing, and he absolutely loved Cyclone Strike. He loved being able to pull everything in. So your CM wizard or your Firebat's witch doctor would come in and then just annihilate everything. He loved that aspect. He loved being the puller. He loved being kind of the quote unquote tank that kind of helped everyone, that it pulled the whole party together.
And then
To
wizards
go
got black hole, and now we don't need monks anymore.
That is not true because our cooldown, we have no cooldown. You guys had to wait 8 seconds, 12 seconds.
Yeah, we just gotta pack every 8 seconds.
No, we're better. We're better.
Yeah,
Screw
well,
you.
Wizards can't
I
take everything from us. Leave us alone.
wizards
Leave us
OP.
alone.
No, yeah, I think I hope that they keep this. I think a lot of players like the idea of being a support class. So I hope as they add some BA monk builds that I know a lot of monk players are hoping for, they keep the option to be a full-on support class. But I bet you'll be the most liked person in the group running this build.
Yeah,
Everyone will be glad
I,
to have you there.
yeah, that was one thing that drew me to the monk originally. In classic is just kind of that support aspect. It had relatively fun gameplay. I liked Wave of Light even when it was garbage, and then a lot of buffs to your party. So you kind of, no matter how bad your gear was, just because you're breathing Mantra of Conviction Overawe, you were earning your placement in the group, type thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
and then also
sorry, go ahead.
something sorry, it's just also something I kind of enjoy about the Crusader, with the laws. They add some group utility and they help out. And it was one of the things I really liked that they added into the Demon Hunter with the companion wolf is you add group utility. You help out everybody, so it makes everyone happy. Yay.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think this build is pretty good. I mean, I don't know if it was quite as good as you talked it up to be, but overall,
Thanks.
it's
Thank you. Thank
Sorry.
you.
Yeah, it's a pretty good build. So if you're a monk, just run that build. You don't get to do damage. You don't get to have fun. You get to stand back and watch everyone else have a lot more fun because you're there.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they'll say thank you at the end of it, and that'll be the extent of your enjoyment.
And then you will feel fulfilled.
Yeah, and maybe someday monks will do damage again.
And that day is 2.1. But
Yeah, cross
no
fingers.
promises. No promises.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Should we go back to the chat screen?
Yes, I will stop sharing.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. Well, yeah, it feels weird ending right after the build section, but that's what you get when you watch Westmarch Workshop. It's just a new. It's like the first show, every show.
Yeah,
We're
where
just-
we have no idea what we're doing and we talk inanely about nothing.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out how we want to run this show. Maybe like episode 50, episode 60, we'll have a good, solid idea.
1 year from now, we will maybe, potentially, figure something out one
Yeah.
day.
And we'll scrap that and we'll start over.
That we will. Oh, someone is asking for a link for the build. I cannot link things in chat.
Oh, I'm sorry, but we are going to get better at linking things on the YouTube videos, wherever else we can, so that you guys can check it out. If you don't know, you can watch our streams live on Twitch or recorded. Oh, yes, I have a link to post. I'll get that into Twitch right after we wrap up the show here.
Yep. And
yeah.
another thing about that link is not just a link to the build itself, but actually Danny did a really phenomenal write-up, not only about it, but some of the items that help it and how to play the build. So it's more than just a skill build link. It is kind of a how-to guide. So definitely suggest it.
Yes, and of course Danny Ray, who secretly writes everything on our show, is also found at diablo.blizzpro.com with some awesome articles. But yeah, whether you listen to us on Twitch or YouTube or Stitcher or iTunes, we really appreciate the fan base you guys have created here, and you guys have given us some awesome ratings on iTunes and Stitcher, so keep it up. We really appreciate those.
Yeah, definitely do. Any feedback that you can give, or if you want to log on and give us 5 stars, definitely we thank you for it. We appreciate it greatly.
Yeah. So that wraps up our week. Keep sending us feedback, Westmarch Workshop at blizzpro.com. Send us your questions. 9ball, you should hear this build. He's getting ready to show you guys in a few weeks. It's going to make the build today look like nothing.
But it will not compare to the build that Archon is going to show you next week, which is going to make you crap your pants with excitement. Because what he's going to show you on next Wednesday will trump everything that has ever existed. And when you go through and you spec this on your secret character, you will win the game. The credits will roll. Josh Square will knock at your door and shake your hand with how powerful this build is.
So stay tuned, and maybe you'll see this build is so good you don't even want to use it, because it might break the game. So I might not be able to show it to you, but we'll think about it. Maybe you'll get to see a sneak peek of that build next week. But I think that does it for us this week.
Not that I'm trying to build it up or anything.
See you guys next week.
Bye.